welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I am Chris, and I wanted to take a few minutes and give you a little tour of our garden we've been working on. I've been wanting to get back into gardening for a few years now, and this just seemed like a perfect time, no excuses, to get in this yard, clean up, build some beds, and start growing some food. So this is the first week. We've got a bunch of seeds started indoors. It's too early to put anything in the ground, and we're not ready for it yet anyway. But we've been cleaning up, building some beds, and I'm just going to show you all that. What the heck? I guess this thing is just here now. I don't really know what that's about, but fine, whatever. Okay. So yeah, so let's take a look around. So here's the first bed we've built. It's this weird shape because Erie runs a lot. And so we've got all these tracks here, and that's how she gets a lot of her exercise. And in the summer, I mean, I couldn't walk her enough. She has so much energy. Even though she's getting to be old, she still has so much energy. And so I wanted to make sure we kept her routes that she runs. I may have to kind of steer her a little bit where I want her to go in some places, but I wanted to keep them intact as much as I could so she can continue doing what she's doing without disturbing the gardens. I figured it'd be easier to build around her rather than trying to train her to do something different. So it's this weird shape to accommodate her trails. And we're doing a very lazy version of I guess like a lasagna bed. And so what we basically did was all the debris and leaves and everything that we'd been cleaning up, we've been throwing them in these beds. So we put, this one is kind of going to be harder to see because we topped it off with some good garden soil. But we basically did a bottom layer of sticks, kind of like this. Line the bottom with that. Actually, I take that back. We put cardboard down first to stop new weeds and things like that from growing up. So there's a bunch of cardboard and like paper bags type material underneath. And then we put these kind of sticks on top of it. And then we started adding in leaves. We started collecting, saving all of our orange peels and banana peels and things like that, and shredded paper, and we started dumping it all in here. And then we topped off with some really nice soil so that to kind of help start that decomposting process and to make it easier so that when we are ready to plant, I'm pretty sure this stuff's not going to be broken down well enough, but we'll have some good medium that we can plant in when we're ready. So trying to keep it nice and moist. I water it with some fish pond water every now and then, sprinkle it with regular water just to kind of keep things moist. I throw the tiller in here and just kind of mix things up every now and then, just to make sure things stay aerated and trying to help it compost as much as I can. But this was the first bed we built. And then I have this list here. The plan, if we can, I don't know how much we're going to be able to fit. This is going to be pretty experimental, but I'm leaning towards planting tomatoes, carrots, basil, some beans, and some marigolds in here. The marigolds would be really just to look nice, but marigolds also repel mosquitoes. They repel a lot of different insects, and so that's going to be just kind of like a pest control. I may very well plant them outside, just like around this perimeter here, so I did leave room for that. I may put marigolds all around here, the perimeter there, just to make that protective barrier to kind of scare off the unwanteds. And then I've been doing a lot of reading on companion planting, and supposedly these guys will do well together. And then we have this second bed that we made the same way, although the bricks are aligned a little bit better here, and it's more of a traditional shape, but same process. I have not yet added any soil to this one. I figured I'd wait a little bit till we get closer to planting time. I haven't completely decided on this one. This is an area that gets a good amount of sun. I don't know if I'd call it full sun, but usually by noon, maybe 1 o'clock, this entire bed was going to be in full sun until the evening. So I mean, it's going to be a solid maybe 7 hours of sun once we get to full summer. Right now, it's I think it's around 2. No, it's like 1:30 maybe, and so it's almost fully lit, almost, but not quite. And so I'm leaning towards some broccoli, rosemary, and sage. We've got quite a few herbs, but I also have cucumbers that I need to plant. I don't know if it'll be enough for them. I'd like to put them here. So I've got to figure out this bed. I'm not 100% sure. This one, nice arch shape. I think this is Nate's favorite. He likes the arch, and there's also a pot there. This one has a rose. A small. It has like miniature roses. They're white. They look really nice. If it dies, I won't care that much. But at the same time, I would like for it to stay alive just because it's pretty, and the bees and stuff do seem to like it, and so I think it would be nice to have. But I'm afraid it might not make it because I am going to have to add. This one I didn't put any cardboard down or anything because the rose bush is here, and this soil is very heavy clay. We did quite a bit of tilling and added in a lot of leaves and things like that to try to break it up. But this soil is crap. And this is like my entire backyard is this type of soil. But I've spent years, because I used to do quite a bit of gardening, adding things to it, mostly like peat moss, sometimes sand, sometimes compost, manure, all sorts of things. So in certain places where I did plant more, the soil is not too bad, but here I never really planted a whole lot in this particular area. So this is not the greatest spot. The weeds seem to love it, but nothing else does. The rose bush has managed to stay alive here though. But I'm going to have to add a lot of additives, and I'm going to have to buy some soil, a lot of compost, things like that. And so what I'm afraid is going to happen is I might get like some crown rot or something like that if I would start adding it too much here. I don't know that it's going to like it because I'm going to end up burying part of it. Or either what will happen is I'll try to keep this part clear and pile up around it, and so then water's going to pool there. So either way, I don't know if it'll survive, but this is proven to be a pretty tough rose. So I'll just cross my fingers, but if it doesn't make it, it won't be the end of the world for me. But here I'm planning on putting some potatoes, some garlic. The garlic I want to put near the rose bush to help, it says it deters those aphids or whatever. But garlic isn't supposed to go near, I think, the peas. So I think if I put the garlic at this front end here, that should be fine. And the peas will go against the brick wall, and I'm going to put some kind of trellis there so they can grow up that. And some potatoes on this side. And that pot there, I may very well put some peppers, or I may do the peppers near the potatoes or somewhere just in this bed somewhere. And this is a pretty decent sized bed, so I can probably add, I thought about cucumber. Not 100% sure though, if I'll have enough room for both peas and cucumber and how I'll make that work exactly. So that's here. And I will sprinkle in some like marigolds and lavender, and I don't know if I'll have a dedicated herb garden or if I'll just put herbs in where they fit. It could go either way on that. This spot over here gets a ton of sun, and this was a wisteria bush, and I've had it for a really long time, but it never really did well. It seemed to always struggle. And even though I really liked it, it's time for it to go. And I chopped it way down, and I'm going to dig all this up and build a 4x4 bed for corn. So this area will be corn. I'd like to do some peanuts and maybe some beans as well. And I don't know if you can see them there, but the fish survived the winter as they usually do, and they're getting pretty big. I'm not sure how many are in there at this point. I saw at least 2, maybe 3, and they hide whenever I come around. But we got these big wooden logs here that I think the telephone company came and chopped down a tree. I'm not sure where it was exactly, but then they just left these here. So Nate's idea was to use these as like benches for us to sit on around the campfire we have here. And then in that back corner, I got to clear all that out, those vines and everything. But in that back corner, I want to put some sunflowers. I think that'll be a nice little addition to the corner. And that gets a ton of sun right there, so they should be pretty happy. Now, I've had this solar panel for, I'd say at least a year. It's actually not connected to anything. I would come out several times a week, sometimes several times a day, and with a digital multimeter and see what kind of voltage was coming out of this thing. And this is a pretty decent spot for it. I get a good amount of power. So the plan is to get at least one more, possibly have 3 total, and have a run of them right here and turn this into a large bed as well. I haven't figured out the exact shape. I got to keep it in such a way that Erie can still run her course. But this is a pretty sunny spot, and I'm thinking it might be a really good place for some strawberries. And I don't know what I put in it. I mean, it's too big of an area for just strawberries, so I have to figure out what would go well with them. They can do a lot of sun, but also isn't going to be too tall to block the sun to the solar panels or to the tomatoes and stuff over here. So it's kind of a low-growing, sun-loving crop can go here. So that's what I got to figure out next week, in addition to the corn area. And we made a compost bin out of an old garbage can, which I did make a video on, so you can watch that if you are so interested. So that's got a bunch of greens and browns, and doesn't smell bad yet. Hopefully it won't. Got a lot of holes in it. It basically is just a garbage can with a bunch of holes. Not too hard to figure out. But I'm really excited about that, to see what kind of compost turnout we get. And that's basically it. We still have a ton of work to do before it will be time to plant. We also have a lot of time. It's early April. I never plant anything before Mother's Day. That's usually it's safe by then. So we've got a solid month, maybe month and a week, something like that, to get all this stuff done. We actually started our seedlings inside about a week ago, maybe. They are almost all of them have popped up already. There's a few that I'm still waiting for. So they should be really good to go by the time all this is ready. And I'm really hoping we have a good harvest. And even if we don't, it's fun, it's educational. We're in quarantine right now, so we've got literally nothing to do. And so it's been a great excuse for us to get outside, be in nature, getting this vitamin D and sunlight. It's fine. It's fine. Even if it doesn't work out that great this year, next year it'll be even better. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I'm glad that I get to share the process with you guys. So I will check in probably every week, try to make this a series, let you see how things are coming along. Like and subscribe. I will share whatever tips I can think of as we're going along. And as usual, I will see you in the next video.